What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another worst average playthrough of some amazing indie games. Now, tonight, we're going to be going over What Remains of Edith Finch. This game came out in 2017, and this game is truly a masterpiece. Now, it's not a very long game, it's pretty short. However, the stories in this game are absolutely amazing. From the beginning to the end, this game has everything you want as far as highs and lows, and just it's a pretty amazing game, and overall it's just phenomenal. So we're gonna go ahead and go right into the game right now and make sure everything's up and working. We got April in the chat already. Put that right there. So, as I've said before, I've played this game probably about 3 times, and each time the stories still have the same effect. They're not any more shocking or anything like that. If you're thinking this is a happy ending game, it is not. Be prepared for an emotional roller coaster. Get your tissues ready if you're an emotional person. I know I played this earlier today just to make sure I had a good grasp of everything, and it still hits pretty hard. So that being said, let's go ahead and start playing.
A lot of this isn't going to make sense to you, and I'm sorry about that. I'm just going to start at the beginning, with the house.
Now, this game is what they like to call a walking simulator, so there's no puzzles. There's not anything.
I lived here until I was 11, but I wasn't allowed inside half the rooms.
What's up, Selena Kyle? So, I know my energy is normally through the roof during my streams and even some of my walkthroughs, but this game has so much narrative, and it's literally What's up, Mr. Zandman, Do with Doug, and Selena Kyle, what is up? This game has such a good narrative, such a good story. I don't want to ruin it too much, so in between the narrations, I'm going to probably do some just reactions to things, but God, this story is it hits you in the feels on some of these.
Inside the mailbox were bills from 7 years ago, marked urgent, open immediately.
Now, if you haven't played this game's
I hadn't been back since my brother Lewis's funeral.
This game's a lot of it's a lot to take in. It packs.
My mother left me a key, but didn't tell me what it unlocked. Maybe she thought I'd know. Or
What is up, Callie?
thought the mystery would be enough to bring me back.
So this game, I'm not gonna lie. What's up, Callie? We're doing a walkthrough of What Remains of Edith Finch, and this game it's emotional. It's very emotional. Even playing through this.
Even after I inherited the house, I never thought I'd come back to it. But now I had questions about my family that only the house knew the answers to.
Rating, Callie, good to see that, man. Yeah, so this game, even though, like I said, I've played through this game.
The woods around the house have always been uncomfortably silent. As if they're about to say something, but never do.
I played this earlier today, and when I finished it, it still left me, I don't know, I'm not gonna say I was crying, but God, this game is good. Big shout out to Giant Sparrow who created this game. They did an amazing job with this. Rating is also emotional, definitely, Callie. Well, you know what? This is gonna be a double hit. I cried for 2 hours. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Afterwards, I was like, God, it chokes me up a little bit. But Callie, you're gonna hit with double emotions then, because this game is yeah, it's something. And some of the stories are some of these
The house
stories
is exactly like I remembered it. The way
they're gonna
I
hit
had
home.
dreamed about it.
But this is the house that we're gonna be going through. When am I gonna raid? Probably soon, Callie. Like I said, I'm level 67.
As a child, the house made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't put into words.
So maybe here pretty soon. Probably like on
As
Wednesday.
a 17-year-old, I knew exactly what those words were. I was afraid of the house.
The voice acting in this game is it's like another level.
I hoped the key might unlock the front door. It didn't. Looking in, I felt like the house itself had been waiting for me.
I can, I can already kind of sense everything coming back from what I was playing earlier. This game's very slow paced. But the narration really never stops. It just never
Crawling through the doggy door used to be a lot easier when I was 11.
it never takes a break. And it's gonna start getting really kind of creepy. Sounds good, man. Sounds good, Callie.
For the first time in years, I felt like I was home. But instead of a family, there were just memories of one. Like how after Lewis started working at the cannery, we all got sick of eating salmon. Except our cat, Molly.
And I want to kind of draw spotlights to these type of games. I don't think they get a whole lot of mention. But, oh my god, these games are so good.
The table was still a wreck from the night we left.
Look at this. Just
It was like a bomb had gone off, killing everyone but sparing the furniture. My mom was the only one of us who could imagine Great-Grandma Edie living in a nursing home. Nothing in the house looked abnormal. There was just too much of it, like a smile with too many teeth. Even the fireplace had a story.
everybody, thank
Edie
you for
told
being
me
here.
the bricks came from the original house, after it sank.
Watching this amazing game. This, I'm telling you, if you don't have tissues near you, get some tissues.
Mom always told me to stay out of the basement, so I wasn't too surprised when the key didn't fit. Great-Grandpa Sven built a music box for Barbara, along with the rest of the house.
And if you have Xbox Game Pass, this game is on Xbox Game Pass. This game was also one of the PlayStation Plus games at some point.
A lot of things got left behind in the whirlwind of that last night.
It's kind of creepy.
Edie told me once that every Finch who ever lived is buried somewhere in the library.
All right.
After Milton disappeared, Mom sealed up all the bedrooms. Then Edie retaliated and drilled peepholes.
I'm going to show you what some of these rooms are going to look like. We're going to be going through every single one. But as you can see there, all these placards, they're all Finches that have died. And each one of these rooms is going to tell you a story about a piece of the family that they're slowly learning about themselves because they were never told about these stories.
My Grandpa Sam spent 7 years sharing a room with his dead brother, Calvin.
A lot of this is it's a lot of tension in this game as well.
As a kid, I just assumed every house had peepholes and sealed rooms you weren't allowed inside of.
Yeah, two.
The last time I was in Edith Sr.'s room, I was 10 and she was painting my portrait.
All right, we'll check out this last room and then we'll go to the first room. What is
Molly always
up?
seemed like
How are
a
you
girl I could
doing?
imagine being friends with, if she hadn't.
Vicious Monkey, what is up? So this game, I put in a disclaimer out there. This game is an emotional roller coaster. Even if you're not the type of person that gets emotional during games, this game can really hit you in some feels. So definitely, you've got some tissues.
I spent a lot of time playing in Great Uncle Walter's room.
If you don't have tissues,
I think
get
my
'em.
mom sometimes regretted not sealing it up.
Lewis told me there were secret passages, but I never believed him.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm glad you're here, Vicious. And here's where the creepiness really starts.
Turns out, my mom was really good at keeping secrets. Now it was time to find out what my mom had been afraid of.
All these rooms are connected through the walls. And they got these really creepy kind of things in the... Yeah.
Reading this, maybe it sounds like I had a plan. But I had no idea what was behind that door.
And all
I
these...
had no idea where all this was gonna lead.
All these stories are... none of them end good. I'm just
I
throwing
grew
that
up
out.
looking at Molly's room through the peephole. Being inside for the first time, I felt like I'd stepped behind a painting.
Molly's gerbil had a tiny bedroom with its own even tinier gerbil cage.
And here's the first story.
December 13th, 1947. Dear Diary, I'll be gone soon, but I wanted to tell
Thank you for everybody
somebody
for
about what's gonna happen.
all the support.
It
It
started
means
when Mom sent me to bed without
so much to
dinner.
me.
I woke up and I was starving, so I looked around for something to eat. The gerbil food was dry, but I didn't mind it.
Yeah, she just ate some gerbil food.
I ate a lot of things that night.
Some crazy stories.
Mom, can I come out now?
Sweetheart, it's late. Go to sleep.
Even though I played through this last night, I'm still... There we go.
kept eating and eating. Then I heard chirping outside my window.
So
It
this
was a
game's
barn
not.
swallow going back to her nest.
So this game's not scary. I can't do scary games. These games are these stories are just kind of just really off the wall.
I was a cat.
But it's not scary at all. I can't do scary games. But some of these stories are do I need to be scared? No.
I
No.
tried to be quiet, but the bird was really scared.
If this was scary, I wouldn't be playing this game in front of y'all.
Mom and Dad didn't even look at me.
So we're trying to chase this bird down.
I jumped and I almost got her.
Yeah, it would probably take me about 8 years to play a scary game because I just wouldn't move. But you're playing as a cat right now.
I could tell she was getting really tired. Now I was up in the big tree. I promised Dad I wouldn't climb it anymore. All I cared about was eating that mama bird. I gobbled her up.
Yeah, so that's it.
I
So
was an owl.
she ate all that bad stuff, and now she's hallucinating.
Then I heard little teeth nibbling in the grass.
So now she's hungry, so she ate all that bad stuff. She ate the bad food. She ate, I think they're like
Rabbits.
mistletoes. I think mistletoes are deadly, I think. Ooh, got you.
I imagined
What is up,
him
EQ?
picking up and seeing mine through my talons. I swallowed him up, and I didn't chew one bit. Then I flew off to find something bigger.
I'm looking for Mama Rabbit now.
A mama rabbit.
There we are. First try.
She was almost too big to kill.
Yeah, holly berries. Yeah.
I started choking, but I couldn't stop eating.
So she ate that bad carrot, and she ate the toothpaste.
Suddenly,
She ate those holly berries, and so she's hallucinating at this point. But there we go. But so like I said, if you just tuned in,
I rolled off a cliff and into the ocean.
none of these stories
I was
have a happy
happier
ending.
than ever.
Gotta find a seal. Seal's somewhere around here. There it is.
I wanted
What is up, Bud Rabies? How you doing, man? So, Bud Rabies, if you are emotional in any way right now, this game's gonna be rough. I'm not gonna lie. I played through this game earlier today, and oh, Bud Rabies, this game it's something else. There we are. It is.
I tore off her flipper, and it tasted really good.
It's very emotional. April told everybody I was crying for 2 hours earlier. But not gonna lie, after this game, it definitely it gets to you. Now the controls aren't amazing. But it's not really. So this game is a huge walking simulator, and this is definitely more about the story than anything else. There it is. Getting this seal is legit pretty hard, though. It didn't take me this long in my earlier playthrough. They absolutely are. I'm trying to find this seal. And it'll kind of reset you, as you saw right there. It just kind of puts you back in. Yeah, I think April likes YouTube because there's no like bots and there's no anything. She just gets to enjoy me watch me play. Is that seal, man? There he is. You can't really control this going up or down. You just kind of control it going left and right. There he is. There we go. Yeah, Lee, it took me a hot minute to get that.
When I opened my eyes, everything had changed.
So, Butt Rabies, this game, if you're gonna be watching this, I would get some tissues ready. It is definitely one of those games.
Monster, and I smelled people everywhere.
So she's still hallucinating? To give you some back story to this. This little girl was hungry and she ended up eating some poison, and so she's hallucinating right now.
I wanted to stop, but also I didn't.
So yeah, so this is a little weird. It's because she's she's hallucinating right now.
After the last passenger, I was still hungry.
It is. But Rabies, there's nothing happy about this whole game.
So I swam towards it.
That's why I shot a little disclaimer out, and
I slithered onto the sand, and the good smell.
yeah, I mean, there was even a point where April was watching me play this earlier, and she had to leave the room. Everybody that's here, thank you so much. This YouTube stuff is something that I wanted to do for my kids. My kids really like watching me play games. And this is kind of a it's away from Twitch. My energy's not through the roof. I get to calm down. Profanity is pretty much non-existent. during the stream. It's just me kind of talking, playing, and just vibing out with chat. So it's a nice break before I start my work week. This I was so relaxed after doing my walkthrough last. All my stomachs. Yeah.
All my stomach started growling.
It was very
That was me again. I held my breath for a long time, but I couldn't hear anything. I think it's waiting for me to fall asleep. But it's not going to wait much longer. It needs to feed, and we both know I will be delicious.
definitely, man. This is a good recharge to start my work
I'm not
week.
sure if I believed all of that, but I'm sure Edie would have.
And it gives me like a sense of accomplishment. I don't know if any of y'all experienced that, but when you beat a game, you get this like you did something. And I don't get to do that playing a multiplayer game. There's no ending. It's just a constant multiplayer. So doing these games gives me like a sense of accomplishment every time I beat them. So that's the family tree that we're going to be going through. And yes, she just walked out a
This will be
window.
obvious later, but my mom never told me any of these stories.
Edie would have, but Mom didn't like bringing up the past. Though, when we adopted a stray kitten, she was the one who named it Molly.
And I will let you
I
know,
spent a lot of time in Great Grandma Edie's room.
there is a huge plot twist at the end of this game. And that's part of the thing that really like it makes it that much
It's
more
almost
emotional.
like a museum. For 500 years, the Finches have been famous. Odin
throughout
Finch
Norway.
buries the latest victims of the family curse, his wife Ingeborg and their newborn son, Johann. On January 7th, 1937, he set sail with his family and his house, hoping to leave the curse behind.
So as you can see, this is like a reoccurring thing. There's just this family curse, and they're trying to get away from it.
But 40-foot waves off the coast of Washington send the house and Odin to the bottom of the sea. Odin's daughter Edie, with husband Sven and baby Molly, step ashore on their new home, Orcas Island. Odin Finch is the first to be buried in the new family cemetery. His daughter Edie is already dreaming of a new Finch house.
I love the direction behind this. It looks like real life people that you can kind of connect to.
Whatever's wrong with this family, it goes back a long ways.
So as you can see there, boom, that's the start. And I'm not going to go too much into detail behind a lot of these.
When Edie told people Sven was killed by a dragon, she could also have said he was building a dragon-shaped slide that collapsed. She could have, but she didn't.
Even in her 90s, sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my mother.
The only trace Grandpa Sam's first wife Kay left on the house was the pink bathroom.
It was a pretty big trace.
What is up, Laser? How you doing? Welcome to the playthrough of What Remains of Edith Finch. This game is it is a emotional roller coaster. I'm not gonna cry on stream, but
It's in the last book
God,
you
this
would
this
look.
game hits you in the
It
feels.
isn't in the cupboard. It's hidden in this book.
So, Giant Sparrow is the developer behind this game. They did such an amazing job at creating this game, creating a story that you can just
Sven gave Sam an old camera
yeah,
he
it just it
refurbished.
pulls you in.
He never put it down.
I know. I got you. I got you, Laser Wolf. I see your symbol. It's the same as your symbol in Twitch. So I got you. I got you. Thank you for being here. It literally means like everything that y'all are supporting me on this little venture through YouTube. And kind of getting used to these playthroughs and kind of.
From the paintings on the wall, it was clear my brother Milton had been here before me.
It's a good break from a lot of the other games that I'm playing. Here we go. Here's another.
I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin.
Another good story.
And that he
tragic
never
ending.
talked about him.
I did. You like that, April? What you say? So my wife, in case you didn't know, my wife critiques me at the end of all my streams, and she'll tell me like, "Hey, I saw you do
I
this.
didn't like history any more than my mom did.
I saw you do this. Don't do this. You do this a lot. Try not to do that." And so I definitely take what she says and I file it in here.
My brother, by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it.
So here we go. We're a
My
little
brother
kid.
said he'd die before he ate another mushroom. And he did. At Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be afraid again. And he wasn't. I think Calvin always wanted...
Hey, Callie, I appreciate that, man. This is real. Like I said, this is really nice. It is. It's like a good break. It's a good break. It lets me digest these games.
But that day, he finally made up his mind to do it.
And it feels. It just like I said. It feels like I'm just recharging my battery. It's very nice. Don't get me wrong. I love Hype Me and I love getting loud, but playing through these games and kind of experiencing these games with you, it's really awesome.
Maybe if I hadn't said that.
Dude, this is gonna be how I am, and then I'm gonna get super excited, and then the Hype Me is gonna come out. So I'm a little bit of both.
Then maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it.
If you take my Twitch persona and my YouTube persona,
I think he'd already made up his mind.
that's kind of who I am in real life.
That's what I want to remember about my brother.
But April can tell you that when I'm at a 10, I'm at a 10, and yeah. Oh, man. I can already tell you what's going to happen with this kid, right?
He made up his mind to fly. And he did.
Yeah, so that kid, he swung off a cliff.
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing.
Definitely, Callie. Definitely. So that was Calvin, 11 years old, swung himself off a cliff.
After the funeral,
None of these
Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room.
stories are good.
Mom said Grandpa Sam enlisted at 18 and never set foot in the room again.
I'll tell you what, though, when I'm watching baseball, it's a different side of me. Same thing with football, too. I'm pretty amped up when it comes to sports. Now, some of these stories, they're kind of funny. I believe this next one that we're gonna do is dude, that's how it was with the Braves for a hot minute.
The passages were...
Except we got hot and we never calmed down.
They'd obviously been built for smaller hands and bellies.
Let's unlock this right here. Over here. So this one's a little different. This one is it's still tragic, but they put a funny spin on it.
Growing up, I always thought of Barbara as a child star.
No, no, Kelly. I think Aaron Rodgers is hungry. He wants to win to prove the Packers wrong.
I never thought about how hard it must have been for her afterwards.
Yeah, I got such an appreciation for a game like this that does this kind of art and this type of game style, and it does it just so well. I actually
Of all the
planned.
stories people wrote about Barbara's death, I'm surprised Edie saved this one.
There's another game that this company does called Unfinished Swan that I want to end up playing
With
as well.
another ghastly tale inspired by America's most unfortunate family. I'm calling it The Surprise Ending of Barbara Finch.
Unfinished Swan is it's a game I started playing and it has a lot of meaning to it.
Barbara was famous for her.
It's definitely a game I'm probably gonna start.
Now at 16, she was all washed up. A has-been.
That I'll probably end up doing on this YouTube channel
But in a lucky break,
as well.
she'd been asked to perform her signature scream at a local convention for monster movie fans. It was just the boost her career needed. Unfortunately, her scream hadn't aged well.
Getting better. I think you just need the right motivation.
Her biggest fan and current boyfriend, Rick, was about to demonstrate when...
Now that was a great scream.
It was Barbara's father, Sven. He'd slipped into a table saw and had to be rushed to the emergency room. So Barbara got stuck babysitting her youngest brother, Walter. Her convention comeback was cancelled.
This game is
Okay,
also
I'm hearing
on.
frustration, but I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried?
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police
It's on
are
iPhone
arrested.
and I think the Google Play Store as well.
That came from the basement.
You're right. Also, I loved your delivery on that. Why is your basement door locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages. There's a key hidden in the music box. The secret is to keep winding and winding until finally the key pops out.
Thanks, babe. I'll be back in a sec.
20 minutes later, Rick hadn't returned.
Uh-oh.
So Barbara went to look for him, right on cue. She reached for the music box. And as she wound the key, she listened for Rick, but the house was silent.
This game, okay. So this is kind of cool, right? You get to control the comic pane, like the little window pane in this comic.
She found Rick's crutch and imagined the worst.
That's nice.
The gang's leader is the infamous Hookman Killer, Dr. Carl Hamill, who impaled and then ate his family 10 years ago tonight.
This game, it's so crazy. There's just all these like little.
The old fridge rattled and grew still.
Look at you! Vicious mockery on YouTube as well as Twitch.
Oh dear!
Boom!
Rick?
Oh dear.
Barb, relax. I was just trying to scare you to help you find your scream.
Well, I'm not scared, Rick. I'm furious.
Then act furious. All I'm getting from you now is that you're hurt and confused and you're...
She threw him out, but she kept a little something to remember him by.
Barb, have you seen my other crutch?
And she was still holding it when she fell asleep watching the late picture show. Hours later...
Barbara!
I have the same issues.
Walter?
It takes me a while to figure all that stuff out, Vicious.
Okay, I'm coming up. But if this is a trick, you're dead, Walter.
So this game, so this story, it doesn't really tell you. You kind of have to draw your conclusion. At the end of the story, I'll kind of tell you what I think happened.
Walter, are you there?
Walter vanished, but his bedside radio was still on.
Orcas Island police describe the man as 6 feet tall, with a steel hook for a hand. Residents are urged to lock all doors and windows and notify the police of any suspicious activity.
Barbara turned, saw the hook man, and was speechless. He was quite smashing. And he was. He couldn't get enough of Barbara.
Okay, Barbara, there's gotta be another way out of here.
That night, she played her part beautifully.
The music's pretty good.
Molly's door hadn't been opened in years. The hinges He wasn't moving, but she sensed the story might not be over yet.
Uh-oh. So this is a comic of her death? So this is not like an exact representation of what happened. He's not here.
Hookman had vanished. She listened for his breathing, but all she heard was... At the door, she heard whispering. It was coming from inside the house.
Oh dear.
The monsters had come to surprise her. For Barbara, it was a dream come true. Then she saw what kind of monsters they were, and she realized what was about to happen.
I know.
She was going to be famous. And with her final breath, Barbara Finch gave the performance of her life. I wasn't there myself, but I hear Barbara was magnificent. Poor girl. She had a taste for stardom. But unfortunately, so did her fans. Of course, the police blamed it all on poor Rick, who disappeared the same night. And little Walter, hiding under his bed the whole time. He took it all pretty hard, but that's another story. As for Barbara, tucked inside the music box is all they ever found of her. Her ear. Now that's what I call
So I'm pretty sure
ear.
that killer ended up killing her. But it doesn't really, it just kind of lets you come up with your own decision. Because this is just a comic, it's not an actual story. But you're kind of just left with being able to come up with your own.
Edie told me all Barbara wanted was to be remembered, as absurd as that comic was. Maybe what Edie saw was a happy ending.
This one up. So that one's kind of a little weird. That one's, I
Guess
think.
now I know why Mom didn't like me playing with the music box.
That one's a more,
Whenever people ask me about my family, the first thing they always want to know about is Barbara.
That was more one of the lighthearted stories. It kind of gives you some preparation for the other stories that are going to be not so lighthearted. Yeah. So in that story, you learn about the music box, and that's what's going to bring you down here, back to the music box to get into the basement. We go back to the basement. And this game is really dark. Not just the stories, but also the lighting. Here's a pretty sad story.
Mom said the basement was off limits, unless I wanted another tetanus shot. I saw Edie sneak down to the basement once, carrying packages. I thought maybe she was hiding presents. It turned out she was hiding a lot more than that. I remember asking Mom once about where Walter had gone. She said after Barbara died, he got as far away as he could. If there's a pattern in all these stories, I think it's that none of us has gotten very far.
This dude lived in the basement of the house. This game it's really creepy. It is.
Goodbye, everyone. I can't believe
the narration is it's something else, man.
On that first day, after the shaking started, I didn't think I'd survive a week.
So if you see the calendar, it's 1968. November 1968 is when this guy entered the basement.
But after a few days, I settled into a routine. That's what kept me sane. Having a schedule, living for today. I always expected to be dead tomorrow.
Now it's January 1976.
But if you wait long enough, you get used to anything.
And the whole time, this guy's just living in the basement.
Even a monster on the other side of the door starts to feel normal. Almost friendly. And then one day, everything just...
March 2005.
Whatever that thing was, it was gone. Maybe it got tired of waiting. Or maybe I just got tired of being afraid.
Hey, Bud Rabies, I appreciate you stopping by. It means so much to me that you're just able to come by after your stream.
It's been a week.
I know you got a big day.
The longest.
Take it easy, man.
Years. I'm done waiting.
So if you can see the
I
date.
have to leave. Well, I still can.
Look at that. It's March 2005. March 2005. This guy has been here since the 60s. Hey, I appreciate it. Everybody that's just in here lurking, it means so much to me. YouTube has a huge amount of prerequisites you need in order to kind of hit that affiliate status. One of us is 1,000 subscribers. The other one is 4,000 hours watched of your videos. So it's quite a bit. But I love you, Butt Rabies. Appreciate it.
I know it's out there somewhere. Whatever killed Barbara and Molly.
See, that's what they're talking about. He doesn't really know what killed his sister.
And Calvin.
Yeah.
Maybe this is all a mistake. But I need to stop living the same day. even if it kills me. Whatever's out there, I want you to know I'm ready for it. I'm going to appreciate all of it, especially the food. I don't mind if I only have a year left, or a month, or a single week. I'd be happy with one long day. I can already imagine the sun on my face.
Walter died when I was 6. I can't believe my mom never told me he was down here.
That's a
I'm
rough.
sure my mom was trying to protect me.
It's a rough way to live. To be scared your whole life, and then you finally get the courage to venture outside your box, and then you die. Tell you this. There's no happy endings. Every single one of these stories is just rough.
Maybe she was afraid I'd end up like Walter.
And I'll give you a disclaimer. So there's one in here that's.
But if she never told me about an uncle under the house,
There's a pretty not a
I can only
graphic,
imagine what else she was hiding.
not a graphic story,
I
but
don't want to make the same mistakes she made,
it's a rough story.
trying to bury something that's still alive. Now that there's only one of us left, or maybe 2, I thought it was time I heard the stories for myself and found out what happened to everyone else. But now I'm worried the stories themselves might be the problem. Maybe we believed so much in a family curse, we made it real.
There's this yeah. That's where he's buried. Not really where he's buried, but that's his.
I don't know if I should even be writing this.
His memorial.
Maybe it'd be better if all this just died with me.
It's some dark stuff.
But I thought you should know about your family.
There's the original
And
house.
the history you're a part of. Though to be honest, I feel as lost as you probably do right now. I think the people in these stories believed them, for what that's worth. And when you look at the house, that history of imagination and stubbornness and madness, any of it seems possible. I think we've been surrounded by death for so long, we've just gotten used to it. What kind of family finishes building a cemetery before starting the house?
That's one thing I don't like about this game is the camera.
It's embarrassing for me to admit this, but the pet cemetery made me more uncomfortable than the human one. 3 of the gerbils were mine, and 2 had been my fault. Sven built the house, but it was Edie who designed the cemetery.
These are all the graves.
I'm sure Odin's monument had been Edie's idea. My mom was always trying to move on, but for Edie, the past never went away. She could see it poking out of the water at low tide. Edie said she dreamed about the old house every night. Edie's side was always easier for me to understand. But the older I get, the more I can see where my mom was coming from. She lost 2 of her brothers, just like I did. I get why she tried so hard to protect us.
I got blurry for a second.
There's so many things I wish I could ask my mom now. Part of me thinks this is what she wanted all along. For me to come back someday and find everything out for myself. But looking back on it now, if she told me there was going to be so much climbing,
I never would have come when I was 22 weeks pregnant.
That's pretty crazy, right? That's yeah. Like I said, I'm not going to do any spoilers or
I
anything.
never met Grandpa Sam, but I think he and my mom had a lot in common. They were both pretty intense.
All right, here we go. There's another pick it up.
Dawn, I promise, you'll never forget this weekend.
Yes, sir.
These memories are gonna last a lifetime.
Hmm?
Perfect.
Am I gonna have to shoot anything? It's gonna rain the whole weekend, isn't it?
So you're kind of taking
Never
pictures
forget
here,
this weekend, Dad.
telling the
That's the
story.
spirit. Okay, got it.
I'm gonna take some pictures, okay?
Just be careful. The camera's older than you are.
Oh, what you doing over there?
Drunk all that coffee.
Hey,
That's a keeper.
I'm just saying, I'm not always gonna be here, Don. You'll need to remember this stuff if you want to survive.
I'll be fine, Dad.
You know who else thought he was gonna be fine?
Some guy who died.
Don, I'm
Dad!
Good eyes, Don. Before you take the shot, let me get a picture of you.
Dad, I...
Let me get behind you.
So it's a hunting story, so you think
Don, you don't have to do anything. But if you want to survive, you'll
you
need
think
to
you know how this is gonna end.
Great shot, Don. I'm proud of you, Don. Always remember that, okay?
Dad, it's twitching. I think
That's
it's
totally normal, Don. Just focus on the camera. Try not to think about.
Dad!
Of all these stories, that's the one I wish most that my mom had told me.
These are rough stories. They're not. They're all really tragic. There's not a. Like I said,
Instead of
there's
hiding from death, Sam seemed to go out of his way to meet it.
yeah. So you think, oh, hunting accident. He's gonna get shot. No. Yeah, it's just watching a girl watching her dad die right in front of her. Kind of just it's. I mean, this whole thing. This is just how the game.
After Sam died, my mom and Edie got really close.
It's rough.
They'd both lost a lot.
So I will say, if you have kids, this one, it's pretty rough. It's a little hard to watch, especially if you have kids. So if you want to just if you're watching this as a VOD, you can slide forward probably a couple minutes. If you're watching this live, and things make you uneasy, you could probably put the phone down, look at your watch for about 4 or 5 minutes, because this story, if you have kids, it definitely hits home.
Dear Kay, do you remember the way Gregory used to laugh when he thought he was alone? Like something funny was happening, but only he could see it. I think he saw things the rest of us don't.
Gregory, it's time to... Hold on, sweetie. Hello? Sam, I told you I don't want to talk right now.
Pay attention to what the mom is saying, if you can.
What his world was like.
Yeah, vicious.
So much of California.
This is probably one of the worst stories because I have kids.
Whatever it was, he saw. Sure made him happy. I know how simple it sounds.
This is what April walked away from.
I worried about a baby being too happy. I could feel him slipping away.
Sorry about that, Gregory.
I know you did everything you could. Maybe if I hadn't called that night.
Damn it. Hold on, I don't want Gregory to hear this.
I wish he could have told us about the world he saw. There's so much I don't understand about Gregory, about everything. sure he's happy. And he'd want you to be happy too. Good luck, Kay. Love, Sam.
So this is kind of like a double. It's really a double tragedy, obviously, because what happened to the kid, and then obviously their marriage falling apart. Yeah, he was one. It's this game. The people who made this game, there's a lot to unpack in this whole game. But if you're listening, you can turn the phone over now. It's over. But that's not the last sad thing you're going to see.
It was as far away as she could get. I can't imagine what it was like for her to lose 2 sons after she'd already lost 2 brothers. She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay. My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. Louis was born a year later.
Yeah. So obviously you have kids, I have kids.
When my dad
And that's
died,
one thing that
don't think
me and
about
April are
nowhere
just
else
like
to go.
we are crazy about. Even our 2-year-old who can walk and stand, we don't leave him really sitting in any kind of body of water by himself.
I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back. The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that.
But it's rough. It just shows you that.
And for a while, things were good. Almost
Yeah, it's
normal.
It's rough. Yeah. Exactly. Like I said, me and April, we have a 5-year-old, 7-year-old, and we don't even leave them in the tub.
The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle.
So this one's actually not tragic. It's just really weird.
Milton
Exactly,
Finch
yeah.
in The Magic Paintbrush.
The art style behind this game is amazing. I love this game. Just the way they went with everything. Yeah, I mean the house gets like higher and higher and higher. So he disappeared. So the story with Milton, he disappears. Nobody knows what happened to him, and that's just kind of like a flip book that he made. Also, the music in this game is
Mom spent months searching for my brother.
it's good.
Then she sealed the doors.
Just like last week when we played Journey, the soundtrack is so good.
Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
So we're gonna jump on over to the next one. Oh wow. That's crazy, Vicious. Yeah, I
Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Lewis blamed himself.
I'm a good swimmer, and yeah.
After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room.
It's still
Until
a big
Mom got
fear.
him a job at the cannery.
This is also it's a little bit of a rough story. It's not the roughest. The one that we just watched, yeah, the one with the kid. That's the roughest. But all of these stories are just
Lewis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
Said hookah.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his
This one's
daily
actually hard because you have to
He kept working at the cannery. But
move
he
the right
withdrew
and
part
left
of himself.
joystick.
In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to wander.
So the story's in that left corner.
I asked him
or
to
the left
describe
side.
it. He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth. Could feel his way about. Then something moved. Bats. And toads. And things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head. But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself.
So if you're not coordinated, this is actually a pretty hard part of the game.
But he found something more. I worried about him then. Daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused.
You gotta see where this is going on.
Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first.
Daydreaming while
He
head
told me
off.
he'd made a new friend.
Vicious.
On the edge of a city he named Lewis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians. And songs for them to play.
So this is very, like I said, it takes a lot of coordination.
He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery.
So Jimmy Fallon actually said this was one of his favorite games. He played it.
His chopping was as reliable as ever.
And
Then one day it struck
he
him
said the story was amazing.
that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination. So he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor. And he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind
This
was
is
already
very
wandering.
hard.
It became a
It
game.
requires you using both the left stick to move. The left stick moves the imagination. The
City
right
will
stick
immediately
moves
push on.
what's going on in real life.
New Louisville. St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality.
But I'm very coordinated, so nothing that I can't handle.
Minneapolis, until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Lewis kept sailing on.
This guy's daydreaming so hard that he's not even going home. He's just gone.
In Lewisburg, he heard rumors of a beautiful prince.
Let me tell you, this art style is
The prince was on his own quest for
radiant rainbows.
radiant rainbows.
I did not steer into that one very well. Knock that one down. Knock that one
He
down.
followed the sound of his electric sitar.
I hit all these notes though.
His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound. He knew the world was all in his imagination.
Fish are starting to stack up. So we get these fish.
But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king. For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Lewis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him.
It's just kind of sad as well. So he's just kind of out of it. Drugs are bad, okay? It's Lewis right there. Chinese food, marijuana.
He began to forget the world we know.
Nintendo product.
I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker.
I can't imagine how it would smell in here. That's him. So he's like looking at himself from outside of himself,
He began to despise the man with a royal contempt.
like an out-of-body experience. Like that. He's not even like doing anything. He's just kind of working through the motions. It's actually really sad.
I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions. Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on advising him.
It probably does smell fishy.
was only one thing left to do.
Well, the story, you guessed it, is not going to be
Bend down his head. And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
It's rough. These stories are just so, like I said, they're just not good. They don't end well.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
Hey, I appreciate it, Callie. That family tree is almost complete, and there's going to be a huge plot twist. Like I said, I'm not going to ruin it, but I do want to let you know that this game, it's taking you down a path, and then at the end, it's just going to...
On the way back from Lewis's funeral,
It's going to flip
my
it
mom
on
told
you.
me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie. I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder.
Look at this. Talking about living in a tower, she's like living above the house.
I wish we'd stayed. But I understand why we left. What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner. But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night.
Here's the story about Edith.
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
The power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance, or that Edie had a key to it.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house.
Here we go. Story's about to take a hard turn. Once I figure.
Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning, okay?
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. I've seen that house every day of my life.
It's coming. It's coming.
But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way. I got turned around. For a while, I wandered. I started seeing things.
These are all kind of things from past stories.
Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them. Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it. Let go. I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it, but she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly. She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes.
Try to move it up just a little bit for you.
And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you and tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way.
What's up, Zach? How you doing, man?
This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all.
Man, Zach, you came in at a rough time, man. This This is right at the end of the game. Man. That's rough. So, yeah, Zach, doing good. So this game, it just ended, and it ends just on a really rough note. So, yeah, it's rough. So that's it, chat. So that's the plot twist. So you play the whole time as Edith, and you hear about all these bad things that happened, and then you find out, yeah, she died during childbirth, and then so her kids reading all these stories that when she went back to, yeah, it's rough. No, Zach, you're good. You're good. We're at the end of our playthrough, but God, this game, the story is so good. From the beginning to the end, and there's no happy point. Throughout this whole game, it's just bad events after curses after. It just seems like this whole family dynamic is just not good. But yo, I appreciate you stopping by, Zach. I appreciate it, man. You're awesome. Yeah, so this game's so good, Zach. If you haven't played it, I would definitely recommend playing it. I'm at about an hour and 32 minutes at this point. Dude, this is probably one of the best walking simulators that I've played. Period. There's a few that I want to get to during these Sunday YouTube playthroughs, if you will. But God, this story, it's rough. It's rough, but it's so good. It's so good. Literally, this game has won so many awards. I said it during the stream, but Jimmy Fallon had this game on his show, and he was talking about, even if you're not a gamer, just to play. There's no puzzles. There's nothing. It's just you walking through and kind of experiencing these stories. Kind of at the end of these playthroughs, I want to give you a take on, kind of like a review. This was an amazing game. This is definitely a game I can't recommend enough. This is the 4th time I've been playing through this game. And yeah, it's rough. Every time the game ends, it hits me. And I'm like, and it takes a lot for something that you know that's going to happen. So it's free if you have Xbox Game Pass, it's free. If you have PlayStation Plus, at one point it was free, but it's not anymore. But I think you have Game Pass, Zach. So definitely check it out if you have Game Pass. But this game is, I recommend it, and I can't recommend it enough. It's the stories on here are so good. And each one, it feels like it goes sad, and in the end it hits you in the gut, and you're expecting bad things, but golly, it just ends. So these are the games I kind of want to do on my Sunday playthroughs, games that I really enjoy, and I want to bring it to y'all, and you get to experience the games with me. But I absolutely love this game. I'm probably gonna play through it again at some point, just because it's that good. And it's short. Like I said, this stream's been going about an hour and 35 minutes, and we're already done with the game. So you can easily do this in one sitting. And what's cool is if you want to, at any point, play through the stories again, they're absolutely amazing. I love these games. There's another game that Giant Sparrow makes. It's Unfinished Swan, and it's a game I'm probably going to play sooner rather than later on my Sunday playthroughs. But what's really cool is you got this replay story, and you can replay all the stories. You can go back to the house and kind of experience these stories. The one I didn't get to, if you see in the family tree right there, there's a spot for Gus. I didn't hit Gus, and I don't know where I missed it, but I missed it. But yeah, it's about a kid flying a kite. Anyway, everybody, thank y'all for being here. This concludes my playthrough of What Remains of Edith Finch. I love it that y'all come by, support not only the Twitch channel, but this YouTube channel. This is something that I'm starting to do kind of for myself and for my kids. And yeah, it's absolutely amazing that y'all come by and support it. Next Sunday, we'll be doing another playthrough of another amazing story indie game. I'll announce it on my Twitter, on my Instagram, and I'll be talking about it on my Twitch channel when I do find out what it is. It'll probably be Fridays when I announce it. But yeah, that concludes it. So everybody, I love y'all. Thank you for being here. You're the absolute best. I hope you enjoyed the story because I enjoyed playing through it. Until next time, everybody, I love y'all, and I'll see y'all later.